Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Velocity Real Estate Podcast. This is Frank Lardino.
And this is Ivette Hollendoner.
Special thank you today for our sponsoring broker, Keller Williams Preferred Realty. Today's a special show. We wanted to tell our story, how Ivette and I came together, starting with Ivette. So Ivette, I know your history, but I'd like you to tell the audience how did you get here? Tell them the history of how you came to the United States.
Well, I am originally from Mexico City. I was born and raised there. At 18 years old, I met someone, and like my dad used to say, you were too young and too stupid. And I decided to get married. I thought it was the best thing ever because I wouldn't have to have any rules. I can be on my own kind of thing. But the marriage didn't work out. So I was almost going back to Mexico, and I met my current husband. We've been married for 23 years now. The year 2000, we were living in Lincoln Park, and the realtor that helped my husband purchase his condo approached me and asked me if I wanted to get into real estate. So I was like, well, I do have the time. I was working a sales job for an Italian food distributor back then, and I was leaving my house at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be home by 12. So I had the whole afternoon. Sometimes I will finish all my stops by Thursday. So I was free on the weekends. And he's like, you have the perfect time. If you want to, get your license, I'll pay for it. And let's roll it. So I'm like, okay. So I got my license. He thought I was going to be able to start getting into the Hispanic market. But again, I was living in Lincoln Park. So there was really not that market that I wanted to really touch wasn't there. But I did grow up. I learned a lot from this broker. And after 3 years of being with him, I decided to go on my own. And 23 years later, here I am.
I also know that when you came here, you didn't really speak English, right?
Correct. I was the only one in my family. I went to private school when I was in Mexico, and they do have English classes, just like they do here. You have Spanish. But I was the only one that didn't take some extra curriculum classes for English. My brother and my two sisters did go to a private school outside the school to learn English. And I was like, oh, what am I going to use it for? The first few months I was here, I couldn't even ask anyone where the bathroom was. I was petrified. I didn't know what I was going to do. But one of the good things my ex-husband did was he didn't allow me to listen to any Spanish speaking music, any programs on TV with Spanish. It was just everything has to be in English. So, and he did send me to school. I did my ESL, English as a second language, at Harper College in Palatine. And then we had a restaurant, and he had me answering the phones, which again, I don't know why he did that, but it did help me a lot because I was like, either you do it or, you didn't have a choice. I had to speak English. So
awesome.
That was great.
For me, knowing a second language is amazing. Like I keep saying, I want to learn Spanish, and Ivette worries a little bit about when we do presentations and stuff, she worries a little bit about her English. And I'm like, man, your English is better than most people whose English is their primary language. And you know English way better than I'm ever going to know Spanish. It's kind of a little joke we have going with each other. But yeah, so a super interesting start for Ivette. She basically met a tourist in Mexico City where she lived and wound up here. And it's a pretty cool story. So,
and just a side note, my ex-husband was Italian, and I can cook better than Frank. He is Italian.
That's an ongoing debate, guys. So my story is a little bit different. I was in the commodity trading pits of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, real busy, crazy markets and stuff like that. And I was doing real good, making a nice living and everything. And then almost overnight, the markets, none of the volume on the trading pits, it all went to computer. All the volume in the trading pits dried up. And that's, how I made my living.
So, what year was that?
This was in 2004. In May of 2004, I had my best year ever as a commodity broker. And then in August of 2004, I walked off the floor forever. And in the interim, I had invested in a restaurant that was being built in Orland Park called the Canoe Club Restaurant. When I was out of business, I called up the partners and I said, would you like me to to become a managing partner. I know how to manage people. I know how to cook. Of course, not as good as her, according to her. I know a lot about food and wine, and so they took me in, and I managed the bar, which was not my choice. But so during the canoe club era, we had a good client. He was about my age, very eccentric guy. He had expensive cars. He tipped the bus staff like $100 a piece when he had a meal. He'd order the most expensive wines, and of course, I wanted to get to know him. We became good friends, and he happened to own a real estate company that specialized in condo conversions, and that's where they would buy condo or apartment complexes and convert them to condos and sell off each individual unit as a condo. So I started investing with him, and he kept telling me, "I'd love for you to come be my sales director. I have like 80 realtors," and I said, "I don't know anything about real estate whatsoever." So as the lifetime of the restaurant evolved, we found out that some of the partners were stealing our money, and Yvette knows that this is kind of a common restaurant story. And I knew we were going out of business, so I took this man up. His name was Brian, still a dear friend, visionary. I took him up on his offer, and I went to real estate school, got a real estate license, and then joined him as a realtor first, doing sales. I wanted to make sure I knew the game, and then I became a sales director. In 2007, 8, the real estate market crashed, as you know.
What was the name of the company that you were?
It was called ownacondo.com.
Okay, I remember that.
And they had tons,
they were huge.
Yeah, tons of billboards everywhere. When the real estate market collapsed, my financial security also collapsed with it. All the money I had invested in these condo conversions with Brian, they went to zero. I had stock and other things. My retirement, the stock market crashed, and here I was, previously a go-getter and risk taker, and I went into, kind of a long period of darkness. I didn't invest in myself. I went into preservation mode. It was really hard to sell houses, and I wasn't a tenured enough realtor where I could survive that storm, and I was just burning through my savings year after year. And then in 2013, I got an offer to work a sales job with my best friend's brother. He hired me, and I needed the money, so I did the sales job. And as I was there for 3 years, I was still doing real estate, but I was not marketing in real estate. I wasn't even like contacting my sphere of influence, nothing. After about a couple years at the sales job, I realized I really freaking hate this job. This is not for me. So at the end of 2014, I decided I was going to budget about $10,000 for the following year in 2015 to start to promote my real estate business so I could build a business in real estate and get out of this sales job. Well, instead of doing $10,000, I actually invested my entire salary of that sales job, which was it was a good amount of money. It was about $100,000. So in 2015, I started on this marketing craze, we'll say, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was marketing with Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. I did radio advertising, and I knew that once the marketing dollars were, budgeted properly, that I would not be able to handle all the business that would be coming my way because the market was starting to turn. And that's when I started looking for a partner. And Yvette, you could take over the story here.
Well, back then I was with, I believe it was Sotheby's, with a friend of mine. Her and I were previously with another company, and we ended up at Sotheby's. And she approached me and she said, I have had a couple other partners per se, and it didn't work out. Even with this girl, we had a partnership with another person back when we met, and that didn't work out. So I was kind of like, I'm just going to do it on my own, but kind of still feeling like I do want to be with a partner because it's always better to do things together. I think you accomplish more things when you have somebody that has the same vision. So in 2015, my girlfriend approached me and she's like, I have a friend of mine. It's a dear friend. I work with him at Own a Condo, and he is looking to, get his business booming, and he doesn't think that, just what Frank was saying, that he's going to need some help and he wants to meet with us. Well, I talked to him about you, and he wants to meet to see if we can form a partnership. So she gave me the name. She said, Frank Lardino. And I was like, here you go, another Italian. And I'm like, okay, I'll try. I'm willing to hear things out. That was the mentality that I had when we sit down together. I think it was September, maybe October, I don't even remember, but it was at the end of 2015 or somewhere around there. So we did get together, we talked about everything, and we decided to go ahead and do it. I felt comfortable enough, but still very hesitant, and I had my doubts because, again, I had things that didn't work out before. So we started this whole thing. Frank was with Ad Properties, so my friend and I moved to Ad Properties with Frank to get the team going. And from there, we did have our ups and downs. And because I was not very trustworthy of anybody at that point, my own fault. Like I said, I had other things. But then, Frank talked to me and he said, either we trust each other or this thing is not going to work. And here we are 7 years later.
Yep. So our mutual friend got us together, and we had a 3-agent team. And our mutual friend kind of like, I don't even think she knew it at the time, but she completely transitioned out of real estate. So she was the mutual bond between Ivette and I. And now, she was gone, and there was just Ivette and I. And Ivette, in December I believe it's December 2015, she said, I'd like to continue and give it a shot with you. But I'd like to move over to Keller Williams because Keller Williams it's close to where we live. They have a good business model. So I interviewed with Keller Williams, and I wound up going over there as well. So now we're approaching the end of 2015, and business is really starting to pick up because the marketing's having traction. And I'm making more money in real estate now. So I gave notice to my company that, I gave them a 2-week notice, and I left. So kind of officially January 1st of 2016 is when Ivette and we hit the ground running, just her and I, at Keller Williams. We were getting so many leads because the market was starting to boom through all of our marketing avenues that we were literally running around all the time. I mean, all the time, 7 days a week. We were writing up contracts at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. We didn't have no admin help, nobody helping us, and everything was going well. We were working well together. One of the things about partnerships that usually makes partnerships dissolve is when people don't have the same work ethic. But Ivette and I had maniacal work ethic. And it was interesting because we had the same motivation, but that motivation came from a different place. Her motivation was, she had been in real estate longer than me, great realtor, but her alignments with certain teams and people, they never panned out for her. It was almost like they were holding her back, and her kids were at the age where she was ready to go out and crush it. She used to tell me at the beginning, she said, I don't want to kill it. I need to kill it. And my motivation was, this is something I love to do. I hated being in sales. I also needed to build up my wealth again because I had been living off our savings. So we kind of came together at this flashpoint in both of our histories. It was perfect timing. And more ironically is Ivette lives right across the road from me. We literally live a 5-minute walk from each other. We had never run into each other, never seen each other, didn't know about each other. It was super interesting. Anyway, tell them what happened that first year. Like, where did we end up that first year?
That first year, at the end of the year, Keller Williams called us, and they wanted us over at their family reunion, which it's an event every year. And they say, you guys won for the Mid-American region for the best team and, for that area. And we were like, whoa, like we couldn't believe it. They say we closed 96 transactions for the year. And actually, that was in February. The family reunion was in February of 2017. And that's when we find out that
2016.
2017.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yes,
Sorry.
the family reunion. It's in It's usually in February. So it was the family reunion that they call us for. It was 2017, February 2017. In January, we found out that we were the number one team for the Mid-American region with 96 transactions closed. We couldn't even believe it because we were not counting how many transactions we were doing. We were just running around, like Frank said, just making deals happen. And we just wanted to work. And that's what we did. And we ended up being in a position where we didn't even think about it. And it was interesting. We both had the opportunity to attend, and we got our little trophy, and we were very proud of it. And ever since then, and we've been doing the same thing, just working.
So one of the other things that Ivette and I have in common, in addition to the work ethic, is the devotion to the quality of service. So we had talked many times about building a team, having buyers agents and listing specialists, admin people, and this is the kind of the time-tested formula for building a real estate team. We could have made a lot more money by doing that. We are well versed in how to do that. We're well read on it, well researched on it. But we're in agreement that when you start adding members to a team, and the bigger the team gets, the less quality product you produce. And nobody's been able to convince us otherwise. So we said, look, we want to stay as a 2-agent team. We want to be hands-on and do everything on our own. And then we can monitor the quality of our product. So we're very big on getting 5-star reviews. It's super important to us that our clients absolutely love the job we do for them. And as of today, I think we have 352 5-star reviews, which I don't know of any 2-agent team in Illinois that has more reviews than that. There might be, but I haven't seen any so far.
Definitely not in our area.
Yep. And so we make clients for life. We send out letters every month. We have parties. We have gatherings. We have a referral program. You'll get a birthday card from us every year. We do not let our clients go. And many of our clients have become good friends. We've built a network of our clients within each other. Some of them are attorneys and contractors and whatever, and they've kind of linked up with each other. So it's been a real joyful ride for me. What do you have to say about that, my friend?
Well, it was just funny, like when we first met, when our mutual friend was still with us, and our name, Velocity Real Estate Group, came together, the Velocity part, and we said, we have arrived. And we did, big time, and we're still here. We're here to stay, and we just love working with all our clients. It's a really joy, like Frank said, to take care of everybody and to still have, be able to hear from some of them that we haven't really seen, but because we're still in touch with them, they call us, they send us referrals. We know that we did a good job when somebody sends us a referral.
That's kind of our mission, everybody, not to be the biggest, but to be the best. And it's like we have one big family now. I feel honored every time I have a client, and so does Ivette. People will come to us and say, hey, would you mind helping me find a house? It'd be like, it's our honor. We feel like we're here to protect our clients, protect their assets if we're selling their listings and stuff like that. So we're a real dedicated team. And we have cooking competitions often. She thinks she makes a better meatball.
Which is true.
We might have to have a whole big party, just a meatball vote, right? So,
and a taco vote. I mean, we have to be equal.
All right. Well, I'm not going to contest the tacos. So Ivette always says, my cooking is Tex-Mex. It's not even authentic Mexican. And I say her meatball making is Tex-Mex. It's not authentic Italian. So
it has to be. I live with Italians. We had a restaurant, Italian restaurant.
And that's the funny thing, back to Ivette's history. All the teams that she joined in real estate, they were all run by Italians, and they never worked out, right? Then her first marriage was Italian. That didn't work out. And now she comes across me, and I'm Italian. I already got like 5 strikes against me. So I had to work my way out of that one. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us on our story. We're going to be doing podcasts a lot now. We're going to talk about things beneficial to buyers, sellers, and investors. We're going to talk about market conditions. We also are going to have another series running in parallel. It's called our Realtor Excellence Series. We're going to be addressing realtors in our marketplace to share with them some of our secrets to top performance and how to covet our clients. And that's going to be a wrap for today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining us. We are so happy that you can learn everything about us, and we hope to meet everybody one day.
Yes, and this is Frank Lardino.
And this is Ivette Hollendoner.
And we are the Velocity Real Estate Group. And again, special thanks to our sponsoring broker, Keller Williams Preferred Realty out of Orland Park. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.